Presman, co-founder of WagerTalk Media. Teddy covers my co-host, and we have a show. Oh, yeah. We're going to start off with Andy Lang. He's probably somewhere on a mountaintop with wind and car drivers racing around him. But either way, he's got two prop bets for us. One on the Arizona-Washington game, and the other, the Carolina-Cincinnati game, a game that we have taken apart in every direction possible except one this week. And what is that one? Teddy's big game breakdown. He's decided to do the Cincinnati-Carolina game. Gianni joining us after that. He's going to look at the Kansas City LA Chargers game and a UFC bet, and we're going to end the show with Dave Mason from Bet Online. Let's get to it, everyone. Teddy, how you doing, my brother? And why did you pick Cincy, Carolina? Have we not beaten that down?
So there are two issues with that. The first is that I pick my big game breakdowns at the start of the week. Other people want to use the games I'm going to talk about. Knock yourself out. Secondly, I'm going to give a different opinion than what we've heard about that game. We've heard a bunch of opinions talking about how good Cincinnati is. It's a great Cincinnati spot. I'm going to give a little bit of different take on that game. So I thought it was worthwhile. And of course, in What Bettors Learned, we have to talk about what happened in the Giants-Cowboys game last night with missed field goals, ref making everything's crazy, and bettors whining about half-point losses. Bettors can't be whining about half-point loss. It doesn't matter which side you bet last night. If you didn't win, it's on you. It's not on the kicker.
Well said.
It's not on the refs. It's on you. And I'm going to talk about that in What Bettors Learned. So get ready for a Teddy lecture.
Okay, and I have a Netflix recommendation for you all. And I know that's a priority on the show. Andy Lang joining us. Andy Lang. There he is at a golf course. He's at a golf course. He's hanging out with Paige. How are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing great. We wrapped up 5 days of golf here in Portugal. Yeah, this is where I'm staying. This is the backyard. It's beautiful. It's amazing. So, but I know no one wants to hear about my vacation while everyone's working.
Yeah, well, my daughter fell in love with Lisbon. She wants to move there. Now she's in Barcelona. She partied till 6:30 a.m. last night. I was never able to get to that time, ever. Even in my prime yesterday, I was still unable to get to that time. Were you ever, Teddy? Were you ever an all-nighter?
Yeah, I was. But I was always on a late-night schedule. You know, I worked in the restaurant bar industry in my 20s before I got into this business. So when you're up till 3 a.m. anyway, yeah, I used to see the sunrise every morning. Andy, let's talk about some props for this weekend. No one wants to talk about vacations. No one wants to talk about memories from 40 years ago. Let's instead talk about some football. And we're going to start with Kyler Murray. You got Kyler Murray touchdown passes. This is a game that I talked about on Bet On It earlier this week. And I made a recommendation for the over between Washington and Arizona. It's a client play for me as well. Talk to me about how you're viewing the Commanders and the Cardinals and what we want to do with this game on Sunday.
Well, we've been talking about fading the Washington secondary every week, and it's hit every week. We're taking Kyler Murray over 1.5 touchdown passes. Pretty surprised the books haven't moved this touchdown passing line to 2.5. Washington's the only team in the league giving up 3 touchdown passes every game. So every quarterback has hit this year. Kyler's only hit this one game, but that was against a team that gives up 2 touchdown passes per game. The other 2 teams that he didn't go over against 2 pretty good pass defenses, they've only averaged 1 touchdown pass per game. So when he's gotten the opportunity to play a bad secondary, he's taken advantage. And there is no worse secondary, in my opinion, than Washington. So we're just going to keep rolling. As soon as if they just give the opposing quarterback of the Washington Commanders 1.5 touchdown passes, it's just an automatic play on the over. So pretty easy play for me this week.
How juiced up is that now when we're looking at 1.5 TDs? Obviously, the books don't have a lot of wiggle room with a prop like this. The number's 1.5, and we're going to juice it what we're going to juice it. But is that a heavy juice prop that we're looking at?
Only minus 145. I'm stunned it's not minus 160, minus 165. The other thing you can do is if you're in a DraftKings or FanDuel state, you can use this as in the same game parlay. Like take a team total over and parlay with Kyler Murray to throw 1 touchdown pass. But I think at minus 145, it's absolutely playable. So not juiced enough, but if Kyler throws 2, yeah, it's going to start to get real juicy. So we might as well take advantage while the juice is low.
Andy Lang joining us. And yeah, Andy, stunning where you are. Those trees are absolutely gorgeous. So you got a prop bet for us on the Chuba. He is Canadian. His name almost rhymes, and he has an injury. With that said, it looks like it's not going to matter, and he's going to play. So where are we going here?
Yeah, he's going to play pretty hard. It looks like Jonathan Brooks is pretty close to coming back. So Hubbard is, trying to show off. It's kind of a little bit of an audition for him. He gets a good matchup against Cincinnati Bengals. They've given up over 100 yards rushing to every team they played this year. It just felt like Carolina was a different team, a different offense with Andy Dalton at quarterback. He rushed for over 100 yards, so we'll definitely take Hubbard over 59.5. It's just a fade of the Bengals defense that's banged up. Carolina's offense looked like it got a little bit more pep in the step. So if the offense is clicking, Hubbard's going to be the main guy, and he's got a little bit of extra motivation to play well as Jonathan Brooks is almost back.
Yeah, so Hubbard, 21 carries, 114 yards, 5.4 yards per carry last week, along with 14. So it wasn't like you ripped off one run. It was a steady diet of Hubbard against that Las Vegas secondary. But that was a game, or Las Vegas defense, I should say. But that was a game in which Carolina jumped out to a lead and had lots of clock to burn in the second half of that ball game. Are you expecting more of the same here? Is he going to get the opportunities, or if Carolina falls behind? I mean, is this Hubbard over correlated with Carolina covering?
I don't know if they need to cover. They just need to keep it a little bit close. And don't forget, this is a little bit of a revenge game for Andy Dalton playing his old team. I'm sure he's going to be a little bit extra fired up for this one. So we just need to avoid the complete and utter blowout in the first half of the game. So that's kind of what we're looking at here, is just keep it within 7 to 10 points, or if we get the lead, even better. But with him kind of being the only game in town, I believe Miles Sanders only had 7 carries last week, so he got the majority of them. So just keep it close as long as it's less than 10 points. I don't see them changing the offense much, so, and I'm crossing my fingers they can do that. I think they should. The offense just looks so much better with Dalton back there, so I think they'll be competitive.
So I got to ask you, because sometimes guys say stuff and I'm not sure that they mean it or not, because you have stuff to talk. Do you really think Dalton looks forward to facing Cincinnati? He hasn't played there since like 2019. You think that's an angle for this game?
Yes, I do. I have a friend that played in the NFL, and he was like, you have no idea how excited guys get to play teams they used to play for. It's just a thing. Like, sometimes it's just like they were mad at the way they left that team. Yeah. Sometimes it's just a pride, like they had a great time there and they really want to show off for some of their old teammates or anything. But absolutely, I believe that guys just get just a little bit extra fired up when you're looking at the uniform that you used to wear. So I'm a believer in that. Maybe there's nothing to it, but guys are guys, man. Super ultra competitive. Why aren't you going to play just a little bit harder against your old team? So yeah, maybe I'm an average Joe on that one, but I believe in it.
And I believe in it too, Andy. And I also think it's contagious. I think the offensive line's going to want to block better. I think the, receivers are going to want to try catch the ball better. Not that that's a thing, but you know what I'm saying. I think the whole Carolina team is ultimately going to rally around the redhead. I just don't think it's going to matter. But Teddy will tell us why it will later. What's up, Teddy? You wanted to talk.
No, I was just going to say, so my take is that if he played for the team last year, it would stand out.
Like
they
3 decades ago.
But we're talking about, when we talk about 2019, to me, it's, I haven't checked if he's facing, I'm sure he's probably faced Cincinnati at least once since then. That's worth noting.
I was curious as well.
Yeah. Let me look at that.
Andy, while Teddy checks, what do you got to promote, my friend?
Big play for us is the 5% UFC play. That is up. It's been up all week, still available. Lines are still strong. MMA has just been a really, really nice source of profits for clients. 66% run on plays. We've already cashed one leg of a parlay on Contender Series, so we only need one more leg to cash there. So it's just UFC and MMA have just been really, really good to us this year. We look to continue that, and that's what our best bet is. Kind of avoiding huge bets in the NFL. We peppered a couple winners on Monday night, and but the big play this week is UFC. So if you've not gotten that yet, really encourage you to get it for a really bettable UFC card.
Wonderful stuff. Andy, safe travels home. Beautiful place you're staying at. Teddy covers. Speaking of 5% plays, we've got some big news that I'm positive you are familiar with. Well, guys, it's Teddy covers his first 5% college football play of the year, and it goes tomorrow. And yes, I said year. So for the person yesterday who's laughed at the way I pronounce year, bugger you. 5% play, but Teddy covers first one of the year in college football. 79 wins, 51 losses. That's 61% since 2021. My question to you is, what took you so long? Like this play just jumped right at, smacked you in the head. We're in week 4, 5, 4.5.
I'm not sitting around saying, what's the 5% this week? I'm waiting for the 5% to come to me. This is a 5% that came to me. And we thought about it. We waited to see what the market was going to do. We released it this morning. One that I'm quite confident in, and a team that's already made me money this year. I think they'll make me money again on Saturday. Just to follow on the Andy Dalton stuff, Andy Dalton, 3 previous games against the Bengals. His quote, it'll be nice to catch up with them and get to see them when you see Cincy on the schedule. I've had it every year except last year, so it's always fun to get the opportunity to face them. So Dalton 2-1 in those 3 previous matchups against his former team.
That's the part we needed to hear about, not the who cares how excited he is. It's the 2-1 component. Okay. So guys, if you like what you're hearing, take a second and hit the like button. It would be so greatly appreciated. We've got Gianni coming up and Dave Mason coming up. Teddy's going to do What Did Bettors Learn? But before we get into that, I just want to give you guys a quick Netflix recommendation. Is one of the best recommendations I can possibly give. Waj just wrote that he started Mr. McMahon. Waj, I read the book, and I am starting the Mr. McMahon series on the Peloton tomorrow morning. Very excited about it. However, last night, I watched 7 episodes. That is serious. I turned down action with the woman because the two of us were so gripped. It is called Nobody Wants This. It is not a regular show that I watch. It is a romantic comedy sitcom. I never watch those. It is about a young, cool, hip rabbi who falls in love with a young, cool, hip, as he puts it, shiksa, a Gentile, a non-Jew, and the trials and tribulations they have throughout that relationship. It is a masterpiece. It is so funny. It's unbelievable. I actually don't think I could recommend a show more highly than that show. It's with Kristen Bell and Adrian or Adam Brody. Unbelievable. Okay, Teddy, I'm done. What did Bettors learn last night?
So the show is called Nobody Wants This, Lawrence?
Yep.
Yeah, you should have thought of a show name before you started rambling on about it. Because
I said the show name.
Yeah. I'm saying nobody wants this on our show on a Friday.
Everybody wants it, Teddy. What they don't want is you bitching about shit because it wastes time.
Okay, Lawrence. Yeah, nobody wants this. A perfect name for that show to talk about on this show because ain't nobody want it. Look, I do not claim to be one of the best bettors in the world. But one of the advantages of living in Las Vegas over the last 27 football seasons is I get to know guys who are pretty darn good bettors. Some of them are on this website. What do the best bettors do better than anybody else? It's simple what they do. They don't work differently. What they do is they pick off numbers better than anybody else. Last night, Dallas versus the Giants. Dallas -4 was there. You could have had it. Somebody bet that. Dallas -4.5 was there. Could have had that. Somebody bet that. Dallas -5 was there. You could have had that. Giants +5.5. That was out there. Obviously, it was the prevailing number. Giants +5.5 or Giants +6. You could have had Giants +6.5. Earlier in the week, could have had Giants +7 in that ball game. So Dallas -4 to Giants +7. Somebody made all of those bets. Somebody had a -4 and a -4.5 in their pocket on Dallas. Somebody had all those bets in the G-Men at the good numbers. Now, not many people got the true outlier numbers. The -4, the +7, those were openers. But the rest of those numbers, regular Joes could have picked them off. Me, you, anybody. And that's the difference between hitting 55% profitable and 52% breaking even. Little edges over time. Every half point matters. Even some ugly, random, penalty-filled Thursday night slop fest between the Cowboys and the Giants. Yes, we saw Aubrey miss a pretty big field goal after going 16 of 16 from 50 plus. He missed the one to cover the number, but don't blame the refs. Don't blame the kickers. If you lost either side, you got to look in the mirror. You got to come out of games like last night's game with a win or a push, regardless of what side you had. It's not about handicapping skills. It's about betting skills, pros versus Joes. I hope this motivated you. And I'm sorry that I keep talking every half point matters, but every 6 months or so, I got to give the same rant. Every half point matters. Little edges over time. Lawrence, that's what I learned last night.
Teddy, I mean, it's just so well put. And we're going to have Gianni come on in a second, and he's going to reiterate it probably with a whole lot of energy and incredible teeth. But I got to tell you, it not only does every half point count, it's the difference, Teddy. When push comes to shove, it's literally the difference between winning and losing. Those half points, when you're looking at, I'll get to you, when you're looking at, your win percentage of a incredible handicapper, and I've done the math on this show. I have demonstrated to everybody on the show how much money they could make at 54% win rate. If you go and you look at how many times throughout a year you could have won a game by shopping better, that's going to be the difference between winning and losing. Well said. I could not agree more. What did you want to add, my friend?
I was going to say, when we talk about long-term results, this is the analogy I always use. If you can have 100 plays, if you can turn 2 losses into pushes and 2 pushes into win, all right, just from line shopping, and that's a realistic goal. Out of 100 plays, you're taking 2 L's and making them P's. You're taking 2 P's and making them W's. You will be shocked at the long-term result that has in your bankroll. It's enormous, and that's why we preach it. Johnny's going to preach it too. We bring him on right here, isn't he?
That he will. Gianni, so we've basically told everyone what you're going to preach. I'm sure you're muted. How are you, my friend?
Never better. I hope I'm not muted. I should be ready to go. All right.
You're rocking and rolling.
My man, forgive me for sending in the plays late. We've been betting a lot of tennis lately, Prez, a lot of tennis and soccer of these little leagues and tournaments that I don't even know, but they've just been crushing them. Been doing really good. So,
Gianni, volume wise, I think tennis is the most bet sport. Like not dollar wise, actual amount of bets made. Tennis is the most bet sport. It's also a sport that's got betting into a lot of trouble because some of these 1,000 tournaments that are off the grid in the middle of nowhere with no TV coverage have been known to have monkey business inside of them. I'm so deeply connected into tennis. It's unbelievable. And I don't bet it. I mean, my brother had Sabalenka over for dinner 2 weeks before the U.S. Open. My brother is like unbelievably close friends with Novak and Rafa. I mean, I live inside of tennis, and I never ask him for anything, like I don't want to call and find out if this guy's injured, find out, what Sabalenka had last night for dinner. I just stay out of it. But I hear there is so much money to be made in that sport.
Oh, my God. Indeed.
So you're going to be releasing any of it to your clients?
You know what? I do. The smaller tournaments, what's been good is because I have the Steam room, and last week, I did 2 days just for that because I wanted them to get those extra board bets and smaller tournaments that I'm just not able to release as premium plays, Prez, because not all my subscribers have access to them markets. And more importantly, the lines move significantly when we bet them. So it wouldn't be fair because their results wouldn't reflect mine.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they'd be getting a worse number. So I use most of it for free unless they're the bigger tournaments where I know, look, these lines are readily available. As long as you have one decent book or a couple to shop, you should be able to get down. So of late, I have been using the ones that are readily available, and we have been doing well. You're absolutely right. There's information on those smaller market sports that we don't pay attention as much here in the States that are real big money makers, at least worldwide. You know, I mean, they're over crushing this stuff.
Dude, I could talk tennis for a sec. One real interesting component about tennis is there are you get a point, 1 point if you win a match on an ATP tournament. That point is the difference between becoming a tennis pro at the best tennis clubs in the world or not. There are tennis pros all over the world that are flying into these no-name small tournaments like there's one in Kenya just to get that one single point.
That makes sense.
It's unbelievable what goes on in tennis. Okay, we got to get to it, dude.
Let's do it, buddy.
We got to keep this slightly tight because I have a hard stop today. Kansas City, we're going to start there, and then we'll go to some UFC. Kansas City now -7. They're playing the LA Chargers. Is Herbert playing? Isn't he playing? Where are we going in this game, bro?
This is usually one of those spots where people that have been following me would think he's opposite. He's going to be on the Chargers because the look ahead was so much lower. This is an overreaction, this adjustment from the Sunday night game. Is there that recency bias on the Chiefs? Because the look ahead was about 3.5, but nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, the fact that this line 7 is what's so telling. And it probably would be higher if not for that key number of 7 and the history of this series. Because even though the Chiefs have dominated, winning 8 of the last 10, they've been extremely close games. I don't think they've won by what? I think once by more than like a touchdown over the last 10 plus games. So they've played really tight games in this series, but this game's a lot different because you have a Chargers team that's just hoping to get past this week because they have a bye coming up. They need to get healthy. They're one of the teams that is suffering the most injuries on both sides of the ball. They're banged up on the offensive side of the ball. They're banged up on the defensive side of the ball. And again, they're about to go. This is their pre-bye week. I just think the Chiefs are catching them in a great spot. Divisional game. They could get now 2 games ahead of them in the division. I think the Chiefs even may be a little bit undervalued because it's been doing it more with defense than offense, but that's just who they are this year. And I haven't power rated only one team above them. And on a neutral, I make them maybe, a 0.5 point, if that. And that's the Buffalo Bills because of how they played of late. But otherwise, I think the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL right now. And laying a touchdown on the road, I'll do it against this banged up and cheap LA Chargers team.
So I'm with you conceptually about wanting to fade the Chargers here, all right? And how banged up they are. I mean, a team that's a mess on paper. Ralph Michaels came, I believe it was yesterday's show, might have been the day before. Ralph Michaels came on and showed us a chart talking about teams before the bye. And boom, home favorite 60%, home dog 60%, road chalk 60%. It's been really good backing these teams long term, 60% plus, like LA this week in the game before the bye. Is that one of those trends that has meaning to you? Is that a trend that you're clearly willing to step in front of? Tell me.
No, I think that trend has some meaning because I think there is a fundamental. I always look at trends like this. Is there a fundamental reason that trend should continue? Does it make sense? Like giving me a 100% trend that a pitcher whose last name starts with a P pitching on Tuesdays during the day is 4-0 tells me nothing. But there's some trends where there's a fundamental reason it should continue. And going the week before the bye, sure, maybe it has some meaning. But if we get a little more specific, we notice that with this Chargers team, it hasn't been all that profitable for them. They're barely 500. the week before the bye, a big sample size. When you add in the VIG, they actually have lost money back in them in that spot. So maybe it's a little more team specific, possibly, than situational. But I just think it's one of those spots where, again, the line is very telling. I like the, instead of thinking the opposite, like, wait, this line's too high, I'm going to take advantage of it. My mindset of is, why is this line so high? You know what I mean? More the contrarian vote. And like I said, I think this would be above that 7 if the look ahead wasn't as low as it was, because I just think they're setting them up for such a huge middle by going through 7. That's where we get our advantage, because they're even juicing some of the 7s at the sharper shops. So they really want to get the 7.5, but I think that opens them up for a lot of middles. And that allows us to get that -7 at a much better price. Don't buy the half a point, because the half a point in NFL from 7 to 6.5 is 23 cents. So if you're paying more than, 13 cents, so on top of the 10, that's 23. If you're paying -124, 125 for that half point, it's not worth it. Lay the 7 at -110 before the 6.5 at -125. You're getting a much better line.
Yeah, I mean, that when we've gone through that a million times.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Don't be buying half points off of a push. I mean, if you want to be stupid and buy half points off of a loss to a push.
Yeah.
Okay. Still a bad plan, but at least there's some logic there. Gianni, we absolutely love having you on. Before we get into your UFC pick, I just want to shout out everybody in the Tampa Bay all the way up to Atlanta area. Holy crap, those videos I watched last night, what was going on there is unbelievable. We have a lot of WagerTalk family members in that area. Shout out to you guys. I've spoken to you all. Everybody is well and healthy. Wow. That was there was some gale storm winds. Okay, let's get into some UFC for tonight, Gianni. It's Saturday, actually, and you have a pick for us on Curvin Jousset at plus 135. Talk to us.
This is a nice dog. This is a nice dog. This is one of those dogs that should actually be favored, believe it or not. But it's the recency bias with the battle side, and he's got a little more UFC experience, having won 5 of his last 5 of 6 UFC fights, where my guy, this is only going to be his 3rd UFC fight. But it's the level of competition that's not even close. When you look at Brian Battle, he shouldn't be 5-1. He should be 6-0. In fact, his wins come against opponents who are combined 5-7. So he has 5 wins, but they're against opponents who had a combined 12 fights and aren't even 50% winning at a win rate. So his level of competition has been very weak, number one, compared to our guy whose opponents have won over 63% of their fights. So he's got a much tougher strength of schedule. And then just stylistically, how they match up. Striking-wise, I'm at no disadvantage. In fact, I have the advantage. In the grappling department, wrestling department, sub-department, there's nowhere really where I'm at a disadvantage. This guy gets controlled for more time. My guy controls for more time. There's just, I don't have the big sample size for Jousset, but enough sample size to reflect he should be the favorite here. But again, you're paying for the name. He's getting a lot of hype. Battle. If you check out his social media, he's even saying, how am I not getting a contender fight? How am I not getting bigger names? Well, you're going to find why you're not getting bigger names on Saturday, because you're moving up in class and he's about to lose as a favorite. So get Jousset. I have a nice card for Saturday. You want to get on my UFC stuff. I've been crushing the MMA world.
Curvin Jousset plus 135. You can even find, I believe, plus 140s out there right now if you shop around. Johnny the Greek says the dog is live in UFC action on Saturday night. Johnny, before we let you go, we love your rundowns. What's going on in college football? What else you bet in the NFL? The audience loves it. Prez and I love it. Take a minute and go nuts. Tell us what you're betting.
I'm going to go off. Forget the soccer stuff, because just finding the name is going to be too difficult. So let's stick to ball sports, main sports. Start tonight, Friday, Washington +3. And another group actually taking the 3, came back, took the +2.5 and money line. So they really think Washington should be the side that's favored over Rutgers. Saturday, over 62, Liberty, Appalachian State, over 57.5, Stanford, Clemson, over 43.5, Buffalo, Connecticut, under 47, UMass, Miami, under 47, Florida State, SMU, over 55.5, Oklahoma State, under 50, Arizona, over 61, Mississippi State, Under 47, Louisville, Notre Dame. Now a couple sides real quickly. Georgia State, -2.5, -3, and money line. Western Michigan, +3.5. South Florida, +6.5. Cincinnati, +3. UL Monroe, +7. Drop down to Michigan State, +24.5. And finally, Alabama, +2.5 and money line. Sunday, not a lot, but here's what we took so far. Bengals, -4.5. 49ers, -double digits. Chiefs, -the touchdown, as I shared. And Monday Night Football, Lions, -3.5. Another group bet the other way. Not a guys that I move for, but I share with other traders. And we bet the -3.5 on the Lions. I think at 4.5 or 5, another real plus EV group came in and took the Seahawks. So there's some resistance there. Not surprising. There's a lot of resistance in the NFL when the line moves more than a point and a half. It just shows you how tight these lines are, especially around key numbers.
Boom. Okay.
Clockwork.
Oh, my God. Gianni the Greek, everyone. And Gianni will be on Sunday. You're going to be on Last Call. Are you doing your steam room?
Yes, sir. I'm doing a steam room Sunday, NFL, where we go over every single game. I'll be on Last Call Saturday for college football at 8 a.m. Pacific time and 9 a.m. Pacific time Sunday, giving you the latest up-to-date information. Great segment, man. I love that you're doing the NFL too. I always make sure I watch it. I watch your Prez address too, believe it or not. I love how you go through the NFL. When I'm working and doing stuff, I put it in the background because I like to see other people's, like when they handicap differently than me, especially I'm not a big X's and O's guys. I love to see how like other guys that I respect analyze games, like how Teddy looks at stuff. I always, I swear to you guys, not like stroking. I listen to it because I'm not an X's and O's guy. So I like to listen to other people that can see the game.
Hey, Teddy, nobody wants to see that, Teddy. Nobody wants to.
No tuning.
Gianni, Gianni, I'm privileged. Like, honestly, that means the world that you watch my Prez address. And, dude, when I finish it, I'm exhausted. It's like 22 minutes.
It's awesome. It's a great.
I need to have a nap.
It's a good segment, bro. It's a good segment. Whether you're even looking to piggyback something, just hearing someone's analysis that actually is passionate about it, knows what he has been in the betting industry, so he understands what he's talking about, and makes it fun too. Like I swear to God, as I play it on in the background when I'm working, I don't miss it for the NFL stuff.
Thank you, dude.
Always.
Thank you.
Good
Lots
shit.
of love.
Thanks,
okay,
brother.
we gotta
love
let you
both.
go, but
do damage. Thank you.
I would talk about my work with Gianni all day long, Teddy. Okay, brother, it's time for your big game breakdown. Then Dave Mason, and there will be a daily presidential address. I'm going to give you all a teaser bet. Go ahead, my friend.
So I've heard everybody all week talk about how Cincy is primed to be a bet-on team in week 4 after their 0-3 start. And I disagree. So here's my case for Carolina plus the points. And before I get going, look, I give out free content every single day. I don't ask really for anything. I'm asking for something today. Comment. Tell us what you think. Like. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe. 170,000 of you now on our YouTube channel. Our content is killer. Thank you. Now, Carolina. Look, all reports all summer, we're talking about how the offense moved better under Andy Dalton than it did under Bryce Young. It showed in the line move last week. It showed in the line move this week. And when a team gets a quarterback who is competent, all of a sudden, everybody shows up and starts to do their job. It's revitalized. Just like you have a job with a shitty boss, a new boss comes in and he's good and he's sharp. Heck yeah, you step it up. Carolina's 3-17 straight up their last 20 games. Everybody's power ratings in the world has Carolina as the number 32 team in the league, even after the blowout win last week. All right. And last week versus the Raiders, that box score is lying. It's not like I trust Carolina to hold a big lead. I'm not asking them to hold a big lead. I'm just asking them to hang around within one score in this price range. And they're potentially, right now, an undervalued commodity, potentially a very undervalued commodity right now. We can buy Carolina low. I can sell Cincy high, no problem. Great, they almost beat the Chiefs. Whoop-de-frickin-do. The Falcons almost beat the Chiefs last week. The Ravens almost beat the Chiefs week 1. The combined record of Chiefs opponents right now are 2-7 straight up as of today. Okay, they almost beat the Chiefs. The Bengals defense is clearly problematic. All right, they're not stopping anyone. They're not stopping the run. They're not stopping the pass. They're star heavy on offense, and they've had to pay guys, so they have depth problems, and it's showing. They lost to the Patriots, straight up. They lost to the Commanders, straight up. Neither one of those teams is a whole lot better than Carolina. If we're viewing Cincy just on this year and not on preseason expectations, you really think this line is this high? Not a chance. And yes, since he started 1-3 last year. And guess what? They weren't a playoff team last year. They sure don't look like a playoff team to me this year either. Maybe expectations were just a good notch too high. Not to mention road chalk on a short week off a devastating loss Monday Night Football. Live dog Panthers. That's my case. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy, that was a mic drop. Jesus, the passion. Wow. Okay, let's move on, everybody. Dave Mason joining us. Dave, how are you, my friend? Are you excited for the weekend?
Oh, yeah, man. Big, good betting board this weekend. So, absolutely. I mean, that game tomorrow, that college game, is getting so much action. So, looking forward to this weekend. Absolutely.
Dave, let's start with Cincinnati and Carolina. I did a take on Cincinnati a couple of days ago. Teddy obviously is passionate about Carolina here. What type of money is BetOnline taking on that game, and do you have an opinion?
It's getting bet one-sided. Bet count about 70% is on Cincinnati. So, the bettors definitely, the public definitely on Cincinnati. They think, like so many people, they can't lose again, right? But they're laying up 4.5 at Carolina. About, what is it? Let me do a quick calculation in my head here. About 65% of cash is also on Cincy. Personally, I mean, I got to side with Teddy there. I'm not betting it, but if I'm gun to head, I'm going with Teddy's side. As far as sharp stuff, not been real sharp. A little bit of sharp on Cincy -4, and Carolina +4.5 even. So nothing too sharp though. That's just not big sharp action.
Dave, I asked this question to Art DeCesar earlier in the week. Art DeCesar, risk management supervisor over at the Westgate Superbook here in Las Vegas. And I want to ask you as well, because to me, this is a fascinating question. If you had a choice, would you rather bet with the pros or bet against the Joes? Which is better? Which is more profitable long term?
Bet with the pros as long as I'm getting the number. It's all about the number, right? I mean, that's the tricky part. I have all this information right here. I can see all this pro action, but the number's gone. It just, like, to give you an example. Bears -2.5 is sharp. Now that's -3. So I can't bet the Bears at -3 just off the sharp action.
Yeah.
Jags +7.5. They're now +5.5. So it's like I'd rather bet with the pros as long as I can get somewhat close to that action. And I'm not a fade the public guy because I mean the public wins too. But it's just we just hold that juice when they do win. To even out that. So give me the pro action. If it's one sided, it's all about the number, man. It's all about the number. What number you're getting.
Dave Mason from BetOnline, everybody. Dave, real quick, a bunch of guys in the chat room want to know where the money is on the Bama-Georgia game and on the Bills-Ravens game.
All right, Bills-Ravens. The money is on the Ravens. About 70% of the money is on the Ravens. I mean, again, there's so much action yet to come in. However, the bettors are on the Bills. That's a Sunday night 8:20 game. So there's just so much, so many people just bet the 1 o'clock games first. Then they bet the 4 o'clock. They're not betting early. There's so many players. But so the money's on the Ravens, but the bettors, about 57% is on the Bills. But again, 90% of the action gets come in. So take those numbers for granted. So as far as the big game tomorrow, the cash is 50-50. That just moved to a pick'em too. So we're down to a pick'em. 53% of the bettors are on Georgia. The sharp side is Alabama. We got hit by sharps at +2, and again, that is right now a pick'em.
So, Dave, we're having a little bit of audio issue with you today. You're coming in and out, so I'm going to try to keep it quick, real simple. College football Saturday. What are the what are the games the public's falling in love with, and what are the games that the wise guys still like at the current numbers?
Right. Sharp stuff. Hokies +19, Washington +2.5, Arizona +10 or more, South Alabama plus 22. A&M -4. Bama, like I said, +2. As far as the public, all sorts of stuff. Good Lord. Oklahoma, 80% of the bettors are on Oklahoma. 81% on Illinois, +18 at PSU. 72% on Michigan, -10 versus Minnesota. Cincinnati's getting bet, 76% on Cincinnati. 86% of the early bettors are on Nebraska, laying 10 at Purdue. So on. So, it goes on and on and on. But those are some of the biggest with a combination of high bet count as well.
And talk about the same thing for Sunday. Pros and Joes, where's the split?
Pros and Joes. Let's go sharp. Bears, I think I mentioned earlier, -2.5. Chiefs -7. Jags +7.5. That Chiefs -7 flat. Now it's -7, -117. Seattle +4.5. Jets -7 or better. Raiders pick or better. As far as the lopsided bets, Steelers, that's getting bet. That's the highest bet count by far. 69% of the action is on the Steelers bettors. Laying 1 at the Colts. Rams, 68% of the bettors on Rams +3. 60% on Minnesota. That's getting bet a lot. Dogs at the Packers. And then Bengals. This is lopsided. 70% is on the Bengals. -4.5 at the Panthers. So you're going up against the public there, Teddy.
Yeah. Oh, well. That's always a concern.
Yeah.
So for what it's worth, Arthur DeCesar said he'd rather fade the public than back the wise guys. So there is two schools of thought on that. Before we let you go, Dave, I always like to ask you this because it's interesting and the lines are always moving. Presidential election now, 6 weeks away? Harris, Trump, where's the money showing? And we've seen an odd shift over the course of the last week. Talks about it.
Well, we did, and then now it's back. I mean, this morning we got hit by a bomb. We went to a pick'em, and we were getting good Trump money, so we moved it to a pick'em. And then this morning we got hit by a bomb on Kamala. Sorry, I keep mispronouncing her name. $50,000 bet on Harris came in this morning at even. Wow. So she's now, it's the biggest bet we've taken yet. That's our limit right now, 50,000. This will get raised by election day. So yeah, man, 50,000 bet on Harris at -110. So we moved it to -120 again. So yeah, it's crazy, man. We need an election every year from a sportsbook point of view. We need an election every year because the action absolutely. I don't think any of us could survive that, but mentally, but from a sportsbook point of view, let's do this every year.
Dave Mason, everybody from Bet Online. Teddy, he sounds like he's using a Leslie amp. Dave, what do you have to promote?
Well, shoot, Survivor Pool. Everybody's, I think we lost 94% of our Survivor Pool entries. So we have the second chance Survivor Pool starting up next week, $30 to enter. $150,000 guaranteed, no rake, so we'll keep adding on to the pool once we hit that 150K. Do it, man. $30. Well, you got $30, don't you?
I'm going to borrow it from Teddy, but I have an account at Bet Online. I've been betting with you guys since day one, my brother. Thank you for joining us.
OG. Thank you, OG.
Yeah. Well, love Dave, little did you know how intricate I was with the founder of Bet Online and setting up your business.
Interesting.
That's a story. Oh yeah, dude. I owned an ad agency. We literally built Bet Online with, his name rhymes with Jemima.
There you go.
Love you, brother. Thanks for joining us. Dave Mason, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Eddie, fun show, bro. What do you got going on Sunday? We know you got your 5% tomorrow for the clients. First one this week, this season. What do you got going on Sunday?
I got a 3-pack of NFL, including a 4% game of the week blowout. Get it right now. WT.buzz/TC. Lawrence, what about you? What do you have going this weekend? Clearly, you're looking for some promotion.
No, let's go straight to the daily presidential address. Get out of here, my brother. Love you, man. Okay, guys, let's go to the daily presidential address. I am Lawrence Pressman. Fun show on WagerTalk Today. Check it out on our YouTube channel, WagerTalk TV. I'm going to give you guys a teaser of the week. This is my strongest teaser period. This is I'm not hiding a teaser in my client plays. This is the teaser that I am betting. Before we get into that, I want to point out the promo code GameDay10. Use it, guys. GameDay10. You get $10 off of my entire NFL Sunday card. What you'll get in that card is thoughts on every single game across the board, all the way down. You'll get every bet that I'm making, every lean that I have. You'll also get my circa plays. It's pages and pages of information. You get it for only $19 if you use the promo code GameDay10. Okay, let's get into the teaser of the week, and let's start with leg number 1. We're going to take the Indianapolis Colts. We can get them on a 6-point up to over 7. That is a perfect Wong situation. We cross both 3 and 7. And really, bottom line here, guys, is firstly, I think Indianapolis can win this game outright. I see no reason why. I think Pittsburgh is the most overrated 3-0 team ever. Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Indianapolis has played a whole lot of master teams, but Pittsburgh surely hasn't. And also, this Pittsburgh team, led by Justin Fields, they're going to come down to earth. Offensively, they are really, really struggling to put up points. I think they're averaging like 11 or something a game. Defensively, they've been absolutely lights frickin' out. With that said, we got a total of 40 here. I think we're going to get under in this game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. So if I'm thinking we're going to get a low-scoring game, if I'm thinking Pittsburgh is overrated, and if I think Pittsburgh has scoring issues, I will happily take the home dog at plus 7.5 for the first leg of the teaser. The second leg of the teaser is the New York Jets. I'm just going to point out right now really quick that I fear for Bo Nix. Now, he had a great game last week for sure. He made some long passes. He looked like he is going to be a big-time quarterback moving forward. But here you have a situation where he's playing a really strong New York Jets defense, and also a New York Jets team led by one of the best defensive coordinators we've seen in years. He's the head coach, but he's involved in the defense. I think they're going to be all over Denver. I think Denver is going to struggle to put up 14 points. I think we're going to see an under in this game as well, 39.5. I think we're going to see a score somewhere around 24-13 for the New York Jets. I don't want to take the New York Jets at minus 7.5 because the back door is going to be so wide open in a game that I think will be low scoring. But I just can't see the New York Jets losing this game at home, feeling good about themselves, playing against a Denver team that is coming off of a win, flying across country, etc., etc. And again, it is part of that Wong teaser scenario where we're getting through 7 and 3. So that's your teaser of the week, everybody. Indianapolis Colts up, New York Jets down. Use that promo code GameDay10, $10 off of my Sunday NFL package. Lots of love, kick ass, and I am in playing college football tonight. Check that out. Thank you, everybody.